Me, you fucking asshole. You want me to be all serious? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. What do you want me to do?
Welcome back to Phanatics.
If we have a bloopers thing at the end of the year, please include this because, my God, Nick, Madison would love to see this. All right? Make me want to be serious, and you're sitting here 5, 4, 3. 2,
I was
1.
counting down.
Don't do it in Megatron's voice next time.
I like Megatron.
So does my son, and it made me angry for a second.
Go to sleep.
Ah, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Ah. Welcome back
to the Phanatics. Zach, how are you doing?
Yep. Great. How are you?
I'm doing all right. You know I'm going to keep that in, right? There's not going to be an edit. It's just going to be in the video.
Well, yeah, probably.
All right. So, how are you doing?
Pretty good after all that.
All right. Yeah. So, to talk baseball and not Transformers, which I guess we can probably talk about at some point. I like the ones when they're animals.
Yeah.
Was that Beast Wars? Or something like that?
I don't know.
It was a cartoon.
I've watched them all, but I don't.
Yeah, I liked those ones. That was a long time ago. But baseball. So, we have not had a podcast since some very unfortunate news has happened. Bryce Harper and Kyle Schwarber are injured. I almost wanted to make a podcast the day we found out that it wasn't going to be serious. But you guys were so busy. But yeah, so it's not serious, but geez, we don't look good without them.
No.
And I don't want to rush anything. So if it really comes to it, I mean, just get Hart back at the after the All-Star break. And
I saw somewhere today that they both were thinking they'll be back before it, but I don't.
And if they want to come back, that's fine, I guess. But they have to be.
And I'm all for that if they're at the same level as Trey is right now. Like, he's not playing 100%. He's not running and stealing bases. He's doing okay, and he's rehabbing while he's in the lineup. That's fine with me. I just don't want them to be too strained.
And you're not going to ask. I mean, you might ask Kyle Schwarber to steal bases, but you're not asking those guys to steal bases. And Schwarber's a DH, so I mean. And Harp's over there at first, so it's not really crazy. Imagine rehabbing and having to play shortstop at the same time.
Yeah, that would not be fun.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, we were barely able to keep up with Miami. And the pitching has been off. Yeah, it's going to be a tough couple weeks, possibly.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, we just got to tough it out. I mean, you still have guys like Trey and Bomer doing his thing.
Castellanos has been
Casty's playing really well. He's playing well. I think he's going to get his average up probably like 260 by the end of July.
Is that the prediction for the July?
That's my prediction. End of July, it'll be around 260, 265. He seems like he's relaxed now. So
yeah, that's right where you want him.
Yeah, that's where you want him to be. That's about where he is, anyways. Mm-hmm. I mean, it may have taken him a while, but
you better keep that one in there.
I will. It may have taken him a while, but it seems like he's starting to get going. I mean, he's getting clutch hits too when he does hit. It's not like he's still gonna swing at things that a normal baseball player wouldn't swing at, but that's, like I said, it's part of his charm. So that's just the way.
The other part of the charm is, like, I didn't swing at that pitch, and I know I probably would have, and I would yell at you, and I'm yelling at you now, so throw me out.
Yeah.
Like the other night.
But that was a ball.
Oh, yeah, definitely was a ball. but he does swing at it a lot. So
I know,
like,
but I think that also shows that he's more locked in because he's noticing it. So if he
100%.
So I'd rather him be locked in swinging. I mean, not swinging and yelling at the ump and not getting kicked out of the game. He must be the nicest arguer in the world. Because if he's done this multiple times now, this season, a couple times, he doesn't get kicked out. But if Bryce said one thing, he'd be kicked out and suspended for 10 games. And
you always get the mic'd up moment of Nick Castellanos yelling at an umpire respectfully somehow.
Respectfully.
Bryce Harper looks at somebody and just gone. We haven't seen that since Angel Hernandez, right? That the last ball. No, it's been someone else threw him out. I forget the guy.
Bryce is the most hated guy in baseball. So
yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, but those injuries suck. But I think somebody is struggling without the lack of JT Realmuto, and that could be Ranger. It could. I don't know if he's really struggling or if maybe he just finally hit a little rough patch. Because it was going to happen at some point. Like, he is human. I guess we'll have to see how his next start goes. I believe it would be versus the Braves. So, kind of need him to step up for that. But, yeah, he does not look like himself. Gave up, 4 runs today? 5? I don't even...
I think it was
4 runs today. 4, and then the start before that, he was not good either. But he was decent in Baltimore without... Was it Baltimore? I said it earlier. I don't remember. I think it was.
I think it was Baltimore.
He was decent in Baltimore without JT, so it makes me question if maybe something's going on or he's just reached a part of the season where he's going to slow down a little. But
maybe the Phillies don't like the All-Star break and they don't want to play in the All-Star game.
That could be it.
People are getting hurt. They don't want to. I don't know. I mean, I don't know what else to say about it.
And what was it? A couple years ago, Schwarber just let Albert Pujols win. He didn't even try.
Yeah. Well, that might have been like a "You're welcome, Albert."
Yeah, you're welcome. Because I was locked in on Schwarber winning. We just got a notification from Madison, and she will not be joining us. She apologized.
The first part. Apologies accepted.
Yep, I'm not going to even say it in here. You're fine. You have a life. Me and Zach, we kind of do, but we don't at the same time.
No, don't.
It varies from time to time.
Yeah, I guess. Hour by hour.
Minute by minute. So, I kind of wanted to talk more, I guess, trade deadline stuff, because I don't know if I'm going to be able to... So, the goal is to record a podcast next week, and the goal is to record a podcast the following week. But I don't know how I'm going to be after my procedure, and it's a trial procedure, so who knows how that's going to go. So I wanted to talk deadline stuff now, just in case. So I think we'll just start with the easy one. Or do you want to start? Actually, for you to talk a little bit more, because I don't want to keep talking, and you can give us a...
Well, the first thing I don't like, the first thing on your trade deadline rumors stuff.
I put that there for a reason.
But I did go back and I thought to myself, maybe Nick isn't trying to attack me for once, but I do like the Tanner Scott part of it. I don't want Jazz Chisholm. That was the first part. Jazz Chisholm has been out there. And I just don't like the flair, whatever kind of flair he brings to the baseball field. I don't like it, me personally.
I did like his little thing with a Phanatic the other day.
Yeah, that was cool, and that was maybe building towards what you're talking about towards the trade deadline. And if that's the case, then maybe I'm wrong. I'd love to be wrong and sit here and say, Jazz Chisholm helped us get to where we want to be. But I like the Tanner Scott part of it. If Tanner Scott is a part of any of the trades, I think that's fine with me. I'd love to put him in the
That's
bullpen.
and that's the guy. That's the type of guy that you want um, on your team. He's going to go out there and shut it down. And maybe we do have that on the team, but we're all over the place in that bullpen. We don't know who's going to pitch, and yeah, we might have a really good bullpen, but if I can't tell you who's going to pitch which day, it's kind of frustrating to not know who my closer is.
Yep.
So just to do a little talk about Jazz, because that would be the name that pops out more than Tanner Scott probably to most people. He is hitting 260. He has 10 home runs, 77 hits. He's stolen 14 bags so far. He has a OPS of 756, OPS plus of 109. If anything, he's actually probably having one of his better seasons for his career so far. I mean, last year he hit 250 with 19 bombs and 22 stolen bags. If you look at it now, it looks like he's going to double those numbers from last year. Yeah. So, but he only played 97 games last year too, so got to give him that.
He did have a hell of a throw from center field to tag out Nick Castellanos in the playoffs.
He did.
Was a nice throw.
And yeah, I agree with Zach on is this the right type of guy for the team? Is the cocky, arrogant, whatever?
Maybe it's really not cocky or arrogant. We just perceive it as that, but I don't know. I think I perceive of it, as like a flair thing, and there's a lot of flair in our clubhouse already. So
maybe that has a lot to do with the fact that he's also on Miami. We don't see Jazz every day. We see him usually being he's the villain when we play Jazz.
If he was on our team, we'd probably see him a little bit more because we'd see some highlights of that 260 batting average and the 10 home runs. And we would see some productivity out of it. So maybe it would be a little different viewed from me. But we don't see Miami stats or highlights.
No, and he's pretty versatile too. He could play second, he could play short if you really needed him to. So I mean, that's.
But will he play that? Will he?
Well, he has
kind of do a Whit Merrifield role.
I think he would probably have to start, right?
Well, I would think so.
Does he get? Do we do a rotation with Jazz in the lineup versus lefties and righties? Let's see. What's his numbers like versus?
Look that up, please, because I don't know. I've never dug that deep into him.
I'm trying here.
Because I have another lefty stat for you.
Okay, well, why don't you shoot that out real quick?
So it kind of pertains to what you're talking about with the trade deadline stuff. So in 52 plate appearances against left-handed pitchers this season, Brandon Marsh is 7 for 45. That is a 1.56 batting average with 5 walks and 24 strikeouts. So we do need that lefty in the lineup. Maybe he has 52 plate appearances against lefties. So maybe that's a light number compared to other guys on the team. So are we playing him less against them for no reason, or is it because of this 156 batting average this season? Do we need somebody, or don't we?
I saw the stat that you're talking about. I think they said it during the game the other day, right?
Yeah, I think it's from Tim Kelly.
All right. Yeah, I saw that. That is pretty bad, right? So, I mean, to put it in perspective, I'm currently looking at Jazz's lifetime average versus lefties. It's not great, but it's better than that. It's a 226 with 10 homers and 39 RBIs. I don't know if this is updated to current this year. But, I mean, there's obviously going to be a downfall no matter who you put a lefty out there versus a lefty. But
yeah,
I would like to see Marsh get more attempts, I think. I think that's really where it comes to it. You want to see him out there still because he's a fan favorite. He's becoming a very popular player. I just said that, but you want him out there just to get better. And
I don't think 52 plate appearances for what is he 20? He's somewhere between 26 and 28, right?
yeah, it's not enough. It's not a good sample size.
That's what I'm saying. It's not enough. I maybe we're old school when it comes to that stuff, but when you're that age and you're in the majors and you're starting, you should be starting every day.
Well,
There
I
should be no
think
days off.
that's the weird thing with the analytics stuff, because
Yeah.
I look at it and I go, well, okay, so you're telling me he's struggling, but he has a lower ABs. Well, what happens if I gave him more ABs? I want to see.
Right.
I want
Well,
to
you can do
see
the
if,
numbers and predict it, but you can't actually be right.
and I mean, how do players get better at hitting? You
They
know,
hit more. They have
they
more
hit more.
appearances.
So he needs to have more appearances, and I'm all for Brandon Marsh being in the lineup every day, and I think we're going to be seeing that a lot more,
I
anyways.
don't think
Or at
that
least
statistic that I just said has any bearing on what he can do as a player. I just
no,
don't think he's been out there enough, and that's the problem I see at the trade deadline. Like we haven't given him enough time to give us enough stats to do it. I mean, that's 52 plate appearances. We've had way more games than that.
and that's your starting left fielder. So
Mm-hmm.
you want
Or
him out
center.
there, yeah, starting or center, depending on what you do at deadline purposes, right?
Yeah.
So,
Now you have to look at it
um,
all.
yeah, I mean, so I think we might be. I really think the Jazz thing is a really high possibility of happening.
Yeah.
But just because
I do too.
they
But I
do
don't
seem
think
to
it's gonna
have.
like. I think you're absolutely right. I'm sorry. I'm sorry to cut you off. I think you're
No,
right.
you're
Like
good. I like it that way.
that's probably the most logical thing that'll happen because it doesn't cost quite as much. I don't think it would compared to some other like premier outfielders. Um, but I don't think it really changes anything for us. That's the problem I see in it. I don't dislike Jazz Chisholm. He's a good baseball player. I just don't see him changing this team or helping us in any way.
I think
I
it
think
just
it'll
adds
be
another
absolutely the
name.
same. Yes.
It just adds a name, and
Yeah.
but there is a couple guys. I'm gonna skip past the Mason Miller talk for now and jump back
That's a
to Luis
good. We can talk
Roberts.
about that next time.
Yeah. Maybe not even skip it, because I mean it's going to be the same impact that Tanner Scott would have if Mason Miller comes on a team. But the only difference is you have a young player locked up for long term,
Mm-hmm.
whatever, basically. But I mean, we're really looking at two main outfielders that we've been linked to, which is Luis Roberts and Jazz Chisholm. And
Mm-hmm.
if I pref- I prefer to Luis Roberts one. We went over this multiple times,
Mm-hmm.
but the reason why I prefer is because he's a right-handed bat.
Yeah.
Because then I feel like you're actually, like you said, are we doing anything if you
Mm-hmm.
trade for Jazz? Because we're just getting another lefty in there. But it's a lot to think about, because
Mm-hmm.
also, do you really want to change the team that much?
Right.
But with, and I have some pictures on here, and there's only one that I'd probably, sell my farm for. Um, and I've always been a fan. This is kind of all over the place, this pod, and that's fine. I've always been a fan of like a Lane Thomas over on the Nats too. Or, we have a good relationship with the Angels, obviously. For Marsh, get Taylor Ward over. A guy like that would be just as about as much helpful as Jazz Chisholm.
Can they put
And
Mike Trout in there for next year?
I was thinking, okay, so I did see this earlier, and Trout
I know.
was,
I know.
I was going to send it to you,
I,
but
I think I saw the same thing you're going to tell me about.
he is going to be ready soon, right? So,
I
return by late July. Pain free
really. I didn't.
by
I didn't
late
see
July.
that. Oh,
So,
pain free.
this is from MLB Trade Rumors. I don't probably not the most reliable source, but
I
um,
don't know.
but
Sounds legit.
it seems I use this website during free agency last year or this year, and it didn't do me wrong. So I'm gonna go with this because they usually take stuff from the Athletic, the paid website,
Mm-hmm.
but they put it on here for free, so I don't have to. I originally was paying for the Athletic, and then I found this website, and I was like, "Why am I
I think I
paying?"
paid like $1 for it or something, right? Is
Yeah,
it a
I know,
dollar?
but even I was paying $1 for it, but I
Yeah.
felt like I was still too much.
Yeah. Like,
But
why do I pay for the newspaper?
right. So it says Mike Trout basically paying free, expects to return by late July. So if you're telling me that he comes back, right, and
Okay.
it's
Yeah.
pain free Trout for, I don't need Mike Trout for the rest. I just need him for that last part of the season.
Right. Just yeah. That's it. I'll put Kyle Schwarber in left field if that dude can hit bombs. That's all. I don't care. I will. And no disrespect to Kyle Schwarber because he looks really good this year. Couple miscues past couple times he's been out there, but I would deal with that if I could have Mike Trout on my team for a playoff run.
And that's, I mean, when you trade for Trout, you're also trading for a pretty big contract as well. But
Yeah, but
I
that kind of sets you up for the future too.
at least sets you up for, gives you an idea of what you're doing.
You
Because
just
then
have
you
to
can,
rebuild depth.
yeah, but then we used to have somebody on this podcast who's no longer here, who used to say things
Wah, wah,
that
wah.
why not trade the farm away when you're trying to win now?
Mm-hmm.
And I used to agree with that person when he said things like that. So I agree. If we're going to win now, I have no issue giving away Crawford because Trout's going to be there for at least the rest of his contract.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have time to rebuild the farm again. Because
Right, you have draft picks and years in between, other trades
you,
that happen. There's a
yeah,
lot more that goes into it.
I mean, it's very similar to the um to when we traded for Brandon Marsh.
Mm-hmm.
We gave up a future starting catcher who's currently playing at an all-star level over in Los
Yep.
Angeles.
Mm-hmm.
We traded that. Do you know how great
Yep.
that would be to have right now?
Exactly. That's exactly what I
But
was going to say. I mean, as good as both of our catchers have been, I mean, good, not great. So I get that. Ohapi
so
is.
yeah, yeah, and the reason why we traded Ohapi was for the simple fact that there's no place for Ohapi right now. He was
Which
major league ready. He was ready.
there
He
is a
showed us
place
that.
right now. There's a place
There
right
is
now.
now,
But
but
would he
JT
have
will be back
developed as
soon.
fast as he did? I don't know.
I mean, he probably had it. He would have ended up being in a backup role. Wouldn't have got as much attempts to play. I mean, he was ready when he was in minors, though. It's just he was sitting there because of JT, and that's the way it would have been. So that's why when you look at these, you go, okay, so I have some talented outfielders in the minors. Or Justin Crawford isn't going to help me win baseball games right now,
Yeah, well,
and
yeah.
and even you could look at some of your what was supposed to be your top pitching prospects in your farm and now go, I have Christopher Sanchez who just showed to me that he's a top level guy.
The
I
problem I have about that is Mick Abel is not hurt, right?
No, but he has a high ERA.
Right, and that's why like we have Andrew Painter and Mick Abel. Those are our top two pitching prospects, right?
Mm-hmm.
We have Michael Mercado right now pitching, and no disrespect, Michael Mercado came in and he's been great so far in his appearances. He had
Yeah,
one appearance,
yeah. He
but
starts the next
we
time.
have depth apparently, but the two top guys we're not calling up, because one's hurt and the other guy is not putting out what we need him to perform at.
Mick Abel is pitching abysmal. Like it's not even. and this is supposed to be the guy that we're supposed to be building our starting rotation around.
Right.
I almost just said my starting rotation, like I'm in charge of the team.
Your
Um,
fantasy baseball team.
yeah, but
What
this
would they be
is
called?
the Rochester Phanatics.
All right, respectable.
Um, he has 13 games he started this year. He has 7 losses, an ERA of
Wow.
6.79, 2
Wow.
wins,
I
54,
wow.
54 strikeouts, and a
Oh my
whip of
god.
1.83. He's only pitched
All right.
59 innings.
You've convinced me. Put him in any package. It's like a Taiwan Walker thing right now.
Just get rid of him. Because even if he could still end up being really good, he's 22 years old.
It's
But
not
he's
going to
not
help
going
us
to,
right now.
I don't think he's going to be good for us. So even if you trade for put him in any package to get anybody. Trout,
Just
Chisholm,
entice somebody.
I don't care. Luis Roberts,
Mhm.
fucking Garrett Crochet. I don't care. Just get me somebody
Mhm.
who I can mix in there to
No, you're
have.
absolutely right. You're absolutely right. I mean, he's not pitching well, and we need to win now, and especially now because a lot of people are hurt. So we have to get some wins. So if it means giving up some people who cares if the Iron Pigs win their whole division and the World Series of whatever minor league baseball is? We don't care because we have good players down there, but I don't think they really do win a lot of games, right? I don't follow them that well. I just see the stats sometimes of
Um, I
individuals.
I watch Red Wings games. But
But we don't we don't pay attention to those rankings. Like if they're playing well, they're going to come and play in the major leagues.
right,
And the
and
guys that we
just to
have that have played in both, it doesn't matter because the lineup doesn't like it. It's not like you have to have a winning farm system. You don't have to have that.
before Painter's Tommy John, it was Tommy John, right?
Mm-hmm.
He in 2022 in 22 appearances, he had a 1.56 ERA. He pitched 103 innings. He had a whip of 0.89 and he had 6 wins and 2 losses. That sounds more
Mm-hmm.
like a guy that fits the
Too cheap.
role mold of what the
Yeah,
Phillies do. And he's 6'7", which is just creepy, but
yeah, yeah, yeah.
and I mean, I
That's a
don't know
guy
how
that should
he's
be here at that point. He should have been here in 3 years, no barring
and
injury.
and I don't know how he's going to be when he comes back. Tommy John can make him a
Mm-hmm.
complete he could be completely useless when he comes back. But if I still have him, I have no issue just going, okay, well, let's just give away Abel, give away a couple other young guys. I mean, we called up. I'm gonna get the prospects up, the prospect list up, because the idea of you should have if this guy is supposed to be your number 2 prospect. What I mean, number 3 prospect now because Aiden Miller, but your
Mm-hmm.
number 3 prospect. Why isn't he getting called up to pitch the game versus the Cubs? Why isn't
Right. That's what I'm
like
saying.
I just and
Kudos to Michael Mercado for putting out and performing.
well, yeah, of
You know,
course, you want to see
but
that no matter what. But
this is the investment of the future that we're talking about when we're talking about trade deadline stuff. So let's get stressed out. You know.
I just want to talk about the fact that Michael Makata. I'm sorry for saying his name a little wrong there. He's the 30th prospect on this rating. Mick Abel is number 3.
Mhm.
So you're telling me your 30th best prospect is more MLB ready than your number 3 prospect?
Mhm.
I just and they both were predicted to get called up in 2024, but we're not going to see McGable this year. It's not happening
No, unless someone else
unless
gets
if
hurt. Please do not
I'm not
think
going to
about
even say
that.
anything. But I just I think if you're looking at this, there's a couple guys. I don't even think Aiden Miller's off limits for trade if need be, and that's just because you look at
I
the
think you're
fact.
right because of the window that we're in. He's not going to
Yeah,
be here in 2 or 3 years.
I don't. Do I want the Phillies to be good in a few years from now? Yeah, of
Mm-hmm.
course I do. But where's Aiden Miller going to play if he does get called up too?
Oh, jeez.
You're not going to put him at short because Trey's not going to not play short. You're not going to put him at third because Baum is going to probably resign, I would assume. If not, then that would suck. We should have kept Aiden Miller. But you don't think about these things now. You think about those things when they happen. So I'm looking. I have some top prospects, all in their early 20s. None of them are going to help us right now. And we need to win baseball games. Keep Painter because one, he's hurt, can't really trade him anyways. But get rid of Abel, get rid of Justin Crawford if you have to.
I have a question for you though on the trade
Yeah,
deadline stuff. So, what about outfielder from the Orioles? He should be a hot topic at the trade deadline. Kierstead.
Kierstead.
He homered today,
He
I
did.
believe.
I believe you're right. Um,
I just kind of like his approach at the plate, and he seems to be good in the outfield. So I don't know what I think he plays what center field or is it left
I'm gonna
field?
get him up right now to have for sure. But
I don't remember what position.
that could also be the type of trade that we're talking about too. So that's
Right, because the Baltimore Orioles don't really need him.
and they
They
need
could
pitching.
just gain. Yeah,
And they need pitching. So you're looking at a team that maybe they will say, okay, well,
make Abel.
paint, let's get Abel in now just to see what he can do, because
Mm-hmm.
maybe we can do something that Philadelphia couldn't.
Right, you make him your long man in your bullpen.
Yeah, I mean, Kierstead, he's a young guy. I mean, he's only had 30 ABs,
I
so
think he has. I think he has some control left, and he's been doing well.
yeah, I mean, he was born in '99, so he's was it
25.
25? Yeah, it was right there. I could have just looked up on the computer and seen it. It was in a
I was
different
born
position.
in
Different.
'96. I'm 28, so I get it.
I mean,
It's easy,
you guys
easy
are
math.
all young. Um, but so I mean that's it could be two teams trading basically top prospect for top prospect if you look at it that way. You can be like, okay, so we'll give
Mhm.
you Abel and throw in someone else that they want. And you could get a young talented player over from Baltimore that has a team that has no space for anybody but pitching.
Mhm.
But a team like Baltimore could also be a team that you might be able to pawn off some of your weaker links in your pitching staff too. I think you know where I'm going with this. So we're not going to get a lot for it. We definitely wouldn't get Kierstead.
How about a toaster?
Easy bake oven, easy bake oven. But I think if there's a team, we might be able to give them Taiwan Walker. And
they took Kimbrel.
yeah, that's what I'm
So
saying.
that was
And he's
well. They
actually
just signed him. They didn't take him.
he's
But
playing pretty well this year too.
I know. I
But
was thinking that the
that's
other day when he was
it's
pitching. I'm like,
before the
nah.
it's before the All Star break too. So let's wait and see
Yeah.
what happens with that. But because he made the All Star game last year. um, how is
And he
Kimbrel
did.
doing? Yep,
He's doing pretty
he
good.
did.
Decent.
He had 2.37 ERA, 19 saves.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and he had one of my favorite moments of last year, like regular season baseball game when he got what was that
The
career number
400,
save
400 save,
400.
400.
Yeah, that was
And
exciting.
his dad was in the stands.
Yeah,
His dad was going nuts. He was like, "That's my
yeah.
boy. That's my boy."
But I mean, there's a lot of ways you can go with it, but I think the biggest needs, if you're looking, is do you need a fifth starter and you need an outfielder and a right-handed bat? Really, that's where the Jazz thing is kind of confusing. So, I mean, the Tigers have some starting pitching, and they're not winning
Okay.
any baseball. any baseball games anytime
Well,
soon.
I looked at this when you sent it out, and I was like, I don't know if that's even possible where we're going with this. But with the people we've brought up that we're now willing to deal, I think I like where you're going with it. I don't know if it's
That's
possible, but
I don't think it's possible. Jack Flaherty is definitely possible, but
yeah, I
and
don't really want
he's
that though.
I don't want that either. But he is pitching really well for the Tigers this year, and that's a hard team to pitch on anyways because they're not giving you run production
Pre
and
All Star break.
pre All Star break. Yeah, that's where it all comes in with these older guys. Pre All Star break. Um, it's weird to be see. This is why I wish I knew for sure if we were going to be able to have podcasts the next 2 weeks because I'm sitting here talking about a team that I just watched play that was not the same team I watched play a few days ago when
Right,
we
and that
were.
could change in the next 2 weeks too.
Then
You know,
I still think, regardless, we need a right-handed bat. So wherever they go with that, they need to do that, and it doesn't have to be a star. That just needs to be a right-handed bat that can either rotate with whoever you,
I mean,
whatever
look
position
at
you
the
want.
guy, look at the outfielder from the Texas Rangers right now. His last name's Smith. I forget his first name. But he's stepping in. Or he's I think he's an infielder. But put him in the outfield. Trade for someone like that that's producing right now. If you want to give
Yeah,
up a lot of and make a run at this year, we have other depth. We can figure things out. We just need someone now to get into the lineup to produce.
well, I mean, when when Schwarber and Harper and JT and all of these guys are playing, and if let's say JT comes back and he's playing at a higher level, is a right-handed bat even really needed?
Right, but we don't even know how. I can't do that. I'm too exhausted for a conversation about people's coming back from injuries, trying to figure out if they're going to be okay again.
I'm not worried
I
about Harp. I'm
no.
not really worried about Schwarber. I would worry a little bit more about JT because he's a catcher
Mm-hmm.
and he's older.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but
Not even
I
the
don't
old
even.
part. He's a catcher.
Yeah, the catcher.
That hurts.
You
It
you
hurts.
age yourself like 15 years playing one season as a catcher.
Yeah.
JT's like 150 years old in baseball time. Uh, but I mean, I don't. With that being said, does this team need to think about what to do with the future of catcher? Maybe even try to get a prospect in and just worry about that for now. Because I mean, I do not. Garrett Stubbs, he's playing okay, and Marshawn's playing okay. He was playing good, but now he's just playing okay to me.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, there's a lot of ways you can go to, and this podcast is a big ramble, and I'm sorry, guys. It's
Yeah.
just,
No, it's been great.
um, it's just a lot to think about, and that's what the trade deadline does. Because you can look at your team and go, "Wow, we have over 50 wins." It's June 30th,
Mm-hmm.
and we just won a game with basically minor leaguers playing and Trey Turner. So
Yeah. We probably shouldn't have won.
we shouldn't have won because we had way too many errors. But
Yeah. 4 errors, you should not win a baseball game.
if you have more than 4 errors, you have no right winning a baseball game. So that really
Uh,
shows how bad the Marlins are. But
yeah. Which is
I
why,
do.
why do I want anyone on a team?
I feel like the Jazz thing is the most controversial thing
Yeah.
because is he just a is he a good player just playing on a bad team so his numbers look, or is he just a bad player on a really bad team and he only looks good because he's playing on that team?
You know what I equivalate this to? You know when you watch like one of those baseball movies where the team's really bad and they're all horrible.
Mm,
And all of a sudden they start to do something well. Maybe that something well is like him getting onto another team
right.
and then he starts to pick it up. I don't know. I don't really think he's an answer.
I don't think anybody's really an answer except
That's the problem. It's almost like not to take it off of baseball, but like the NBA. free agency right now. Like no one's going to help anybody out really. They're all either old or they're locked up for a while. You can't really,
You're
you know what I
selling
mean?
you're selling jerseys. You're not buying wins.
Right,
So
right.
like we could even talk about that. So Paul George is obviously linked to the Sixers.
Yeah,
Paul George is an old man.
yeah,
Paul George isn't going to give you the same productivity that Paul George gives you, but I'm sure if I watch a Sixers game come basketball season, I'm going to see Paul George jerseys in the stands. You're
yeah.
selling jerseys, yeah. You're just getting money for your team, and that's great, especially when you have plans of getting this big giant stadium. But you,
Okay.
but you're not. Yeah, that's not going to happen.
Yeah, right.
But
Maybe.
let them think it's going to.
Yes.
But um, you're selling jerseys. You're not buying wins, and
It's a
I
good point.
and you could even say that for Trout if we're going to be realistic. But
Yeah, yeah, no, you're absolutely right. But the other thing is like we said, these guys are coming back from injury, so how well are they going to be playing when they come back? And we have a whole another half of a season to play, plus October and hopefully a very deep run into it.
and
So
that's where it gets upsetting, right? Because
you have to, you're going to have to cut some ties.
Bryce Harper was playing at an MVP level,
Mm-hmm.
and now he's down. When Bryce Harper comes back, is Bryce Harper still going to be playing at MVP level? Because
Right.
that was enough alone to carry us to winning a championship.
Right.
That the way he was playing was phenomenal. That right
It was
there, you
just
don't need to make any
yeah.
moves. Bryce Harper won you that championship.
Mm-hmm.
Bryce Harper wins pre All Star Game MVP. Congratulations. We probably would have won a World Series. But
Yeah.
we have a whole
Yeah.
other half of a season, and Bryce got hurt. Is Bryce going to come back and be Bryce? Schwarber, I don't know. Is he so? He's hitting for average now. He doesn't even care about home runs. So
Every now and then he does.
once in a while, Casty's hot now, but that means he's going to get cold in like a month. Like Stott is looking like one of the biggest disappointments on the team, which hurts me to say, but
Yeah.
no one talks about it.
Oh, is it like the dad hangover thing or
I
no?
don't know, but nobody talks
Or
about
is it
it.
is what is his at bats against lefties against Marshes? Are they like in the same boat with the at bats? Because
Um,
he hasn't been in the lineup as much as you would hope he would be.
he was definitely in the lineup more last year, I felt like,
Yeah,
than
or at
this
least
year.
late in the year. Maybe that's what they're doing. Maybe they're saving them for late in the year.
All right, Bryson Stott is a career 239 versus lefties, so that's not terrible. Um, 6 RBIs, 78 plate appearances. See, that's kind of like what we're saying though. That's not a big enough sample size either for
Right.
Stott either. But
Maybe they're trying to like average averages out, so put them in the second half of the season. I don't know, man. I don't get the logic with it.
I really feel like we need to talk about the fact that we're gonna wrap this up soon, but Stott is not playing to I think the level we thought he was gonna be playing at. So
Yeah.
that's something to put in perspective. You have um the reason why we're still sitting here talking about center fielder because we don't have one. We we don't. Brandon Marsh is a left fielder. He's a better left fielder than he is a center fielder.
Yeah. 100%.
Um,
I agree with that.
we don't have a center fielder, so we're still going to be talking about it. So maybe that's why we're just ready to throw whoever out there. But
Well,
there's
this is what makes me mad. They didn't do anything prior to the season to address the outfield, and we knew it was an issue. We didn't know who was going to be the exact issue, but there's a gaping hole in center field, and that's what they said to save the powder for. Right?
yeah.
That was the quote. Save the powder. So let's get somebody. Let's put someone in there and let's actually go make a run for this thing. Because we're hurting right now.
I still can't believe that we started the season with Johan Rojas in center field. And that is not a knock on Johan Rojas because he ended up
Yeah.
putting out a pretty good. he's played good for who he is.
He was the weakest link.
And he's
but
put it together. He started
he
playing all
can't be
right.
the weakest link right now with these guys out,
Yeah, that's the thing. So you got guys, and every time you see something on, you're scrolling, you see Luis Roberts' 478 home run. You're going, wow, I want
Jeez.
that. How do I get that?
Yeah.
And that's because we've been dealing with the fact that center field's been an issue all year. We knew that. We had Christian Pache, I like Pache. He's the Magic Man, or whatever his nickname is. But he has no magic to him at all. So
it was supposed to be the next Andrew Jones, man.
Yeah,
that's what I heard.
That's never gonna happen. But you got, we're gonna wrap this up. We can go on all night, and we probably, if I'm feeling up to it, we'll come back to very similar conversations next week. And maybe we'll have some more of a clear path of what's happening. But right now, the clear path looks like it's going to be Jazz, even if we don't want it to be Jazz. But please throw Tanner Scott.
If anything.
Yeah, and that's if anything, because, I mean, we're not going to, for the first half of the season, it's fine. You're not going to win games in October with not knowing who your starting center fielder is.
Yeah.
So that's my piece. I don't want another.
Very true.
I don't want what happened last year to happen again. So I want. This is my last little thing before I stop. Last year we went into the NLCS. We were the hottest team going into such thing. There was no clear path of us losing. Cassidy starts getting cold. We have and it can all just happen like that. But if I have a guy on my team like Johan Rojas, who is just not a good hitter, I'm already losing an AB. And there's multiple times in the lineup when you have Pache in there and Rojas in there, and they're bad. And then Stubbs now, because JT's hurt. You're going Pache, Rojas, Stubbs. That's 3 automatic outs. Almost automatic outs. And you're not going to win games in October versus the Dodgers, versus the Braves, versus the New York Yankees.
I think was Schwarber and Harper are both trying to be back for the Dodgers series. I saw that somewhere.
That's what I heard. And if they are, that's fantastic. And maybe that's not even a lot of games for Harper to miss. So maybe he'll come back and he'll be perfectly fine.
Right.
The injury looked worse than it sounded. Because when he grabbed his leg, I was like in tears. Yeah. I started crying. I was like, the season's over. I was like, the season's over.
See you next year, guys.
Changed my wallpaper to the Eagles on my laptop. I was done. It was just
76ers said that.
Yeah,
it was draft night. It was almost draft night.
I shared the draft post that night too. Didn't I? But
was it that night? I think it was.
It might have been.
Close.
Yeah,
I don't know. But
you want to win games, and you're not going to. Winning games now is great, but this team was built for October. It was our big argument for the beginning of this podcast and before we even got to know each other. The team is built for October, but are we built to... Right now, we wouldn't even make it past the first round. So we need to figure some things out.
It would be very, very hard.
And I don't want to talk good about the division. The Mets are playing good baseball right now. The Braves are still going to stick around like that little gnat.
Someone needs to go kidnap Grimace or something.
Right. The Braves
Take him out of New York.
Yeah. Who does that? Who goes on... I don't know about Citi Field, but I know there's a McDonald's like right around the corner from Yankee Stadium. With like, you can literally see Yankee Stadium from the McDonald's. I know that because me and my dad got McDonald's to save money before we went into the game. So we were literally eating McDonald's before we went into the baseball game. But it was
I get
right
free
there.
chicken nuggets. I get free chicken nuggets every time the Phillies win the next day. So I get it.
It was right there. There's also a really good pizza place. So it's right there too. So you choose the pizza over that. But still, it was just... Yeah. Anyway, we're going to wrap up. I have no clue. No clue if we're going to be back next week. I have no clue if we're going to be back the week after. We could have our fingers crossed because I do want to try it. So if I have to see how it goes. Thankfully, Zach has no ability to remote access of my button that I'm going to have to press.
I will try. I will very much try.
He's trying to hack into it. He's working on it. But next week, well, on the 5th, I get a trial procedure done. That's a trial procedure done that is going to be in my back for a week. The following week, I get it taken out. I'm not sure what my pain level is going to be after they take it out because I'm assuming it's just going to be like, oh, you were feeling good and now life sucks again. So I'm trying to, and I have no clue of how fast the turnaround time is from button to trial to final. So, and then the final is a whole real surgery where I have to be cut open, and I probably won't be around for that either. So, and we know Zach and Madison could run this pod perfectly fine by themselves, but
we can do it.
It is my podcast, so
I'm sorry, I had to do it.
It's my podcast. I'm gonna go watch Waterboy, and I haven't seen Waterboy in years.
Me neither. It just popped into my brain.
I'm more if I go to like a Adam Sandler movie, I go to Happy Gilmore. That's my go-to Adam Sandler movie, or Billy Madison. I love Billy Madison. I used to watch Billy Madison every the day before you go back to school. Like when you're a kid, I would watch Billy Madison every time. That was my back to school movie. I probably haven't watched it since senior year in high school. But yeah, so I have no clue when we're going to be back. But I would try to keep you guys updated as much as possible on the Facebook page, and I'll screenshot it over and bring it on Instagram for you folks that don't follow us there. But I'm gonna try to keep updated as possible. But while we might not be recording, you guys should try to help us out and go to the merch store and purchase some fantastic Phanatics merch. We have hoodies, t-shirts, sweatpants, pajama pants, hats that I still just found out that we had, and we have a bunch of stuff on there, and comes in different colors, performance tees, Under Armours, all different sorts, and it's worth checking out. And if you do purchase, guys, take a picture, share it. We love to see it. So that basically wraps it up. So let's end it the same way we always end it. This went a lot longer than I thought it was going to, but
yeah, me too.
Zach, you have anything to say?
Let's go Phillies.
That was such a hard thing to come up with. All right, thanks, guys. Yeah, so we rambled a lot.